There are some stories that don't just stay with you, they linger. They echo in the quiet moments when your mind drifts, when you try to recall something simple, like what you had for breakfast or what you were doing 5 minutes ago. Now, imagine this. You wake up, you look around, nothing feels familiar. You meet someone, they smile, they tell you their name, and within seconds, they're gone from your mind. Not forgotten, erased. This is not fiction. This is the true story of a man who lived his entire life trapped in a moment that never moved forward. This is the story of Henry Molaison, the beginning of the silence. Henry was born in 1926, a normal child, a quiet life, nothing unusual. Until everything changed. At the age of 7, Henry suffered a severe head injury, a bicycle accident that seemed, at the time, survivable. But years later, the seizures began, small at first, then worse and worse. By his teenage years, Henry was experiencing violent, uncontrollable epileptic seizures that tore through his life like a storm. Doctors tried everything, medications, therapies, nothing worked. By his 20s, Henry could no longer live a normal life. He couldn't hold a job. He couldn't function independently. His world was shrinking, closing in, tightening like a vice. And then, in 1953, came a decision that would change not just his life, but the understanding of the human mind forever. The surgery. A surgeon named Dr. William Scoville proposed something radical, something experimental, something dangerous. He believed that Henry's seizures were coming from a specific part of the brain, the medial temporal lobes. His solution? Remove them, not part of them, not adjust them, remove them entirely. It had never been done before. Not like this, but Henry was desperate, and so was his family. They agreed. The surgery took place when Henry was 27 years old, and at first, it seemed like a miracle. The seizures were gone, or at least drastically reduced. For the first time in years, Henry could breathe, he could think clearly, he could live. But something was wrong. The first signs. It started subtly. Henry would meet someone, and then meet them again moments later, as if for the first time. At first, it seemed like confusion, fatigue, recovery from surgery, but the pattern didn't stop. It got worse, and then it became undeniable. Henry could no longer form new memories. Imagine this. You have a conversation, you laugh, you connect, and seconds later, it never happened. That was Henry's reality. Every new moment slipped through his mind like water through open fingers. He was living in a permanent present, a loop with no future. Trapped in time. Henry remembered his childhood. He remembered growing up. He remembered events from before the surgery. But everything after? Gone, not blurry, not faded, gone. If you left the room and came back, he wouldn't recognize you. If you told him something, he might repeat it back. But minutes later, it vanished. He could read the same magazine article over and over, and each time, it was brand new. But here's where it gets unsettling. Even though Henry couldn't remember new events, something inside him still learned. The mirror experiment scientists began studying Henry. Carefully, closely, relentlessly. Because what had happened to him was unprecedented. He became known in scientific literature simply as HM, a name stripped of identity, reduced to initials, a subject, a case. One of the most famous experiments involved a mirror. Henry was asked to trace the outline of a star, but he could only see his hand through a mirror. It's harder than it sounds. Your brain fights itself. Your movements feel reversed. Most people struggle, badly. Henry tried and failed over and over. But then, something strange happened. He started getting better, not dramatically, but noticeably. His lines became smoother, more accurate, more controlled, and yet, each time he sat down to do the task, he insisted he had never done it before. Think about that. His body was learning, his brain was adapting, but he, the conscious part of him, had no idea. It's as if there were two Henrys, one who lived and experienced, and one who never remembered. The hidden mind. This discovery shattered everything scientists thought they knew about memory. Before Henry, memory was believed to be a single system, one function, one process. But Henry proved something terrifying. Your brain can learn without you knowing. Skills, habits, patterns, they can grow in the dark, without awareness, without memory. What else might your brain be doing without you knowing? A life in fragments. Henry lived like this for decades. Decades. Imagine living your life in 30-second intervals, every moment disconnected, every experience isolated, no continuity, no narrative, no sense of progression. He met the same people thousands of times, each meeting brand new, each goodbye permanent. And yet, those who cared for him noticed something deeply human. Henry was kind, gentle, patient, even without memory. His personality remained, his emotions remained, his essence remained. Which raises a chilling question. If memory disappears, what part of you is left? The emotional echo. Here's something even more unsettling. Even though Henry couldn't remember events, he could remember feelings. If someone treated him kindly, he would feel warmth toward them later, even if he didn't know why. If someone upset him, he would become uneasy in their presence, again, without knowing why. Emotion lingered, like a shadow, like a ghost. It suggests that memory isn't just about facts. It's about something deeper, something buried, something persistent. The ethical question. Henry became one of the most studied individuals in medical history. Scientists observed him for years, tested him, analyzed him, learned from him. But there's something uncomfortable about that, something ominous. He couldn't remember consenting. He couldn't remember participating. Every experiment was, to him, the first, over and over and over again. Was he a patient, or was he a prisoner of science? The final years. Henry lived until 2008, 82 years old, a long life, but one without a continuous story. Near the end, his brain was studied one final time. After his death, scientists preserved and sliced his brain into thousands of microscopic sections, each one analyzed, catalogued, studied. Even in death, he remained an object of fascination, a puzzle, a key, a doorway into understanding the mind, the legacy of a forgotten life. Henry Molaison changed neuroscience forever. Because of him, we now understand that memory is not a single system. It is layered, fragmented, complex. There are memories you can describe, and memories you can't, memories you know, and memories that shape you silently. But beyond the science, his story leaves us with something deeper, something more unsettling. If you lost your memories, would you still be you? If your experiences vanished, but your habits remained, your emotions lingered, your instincts continued, who are you really? The final thought. Somewhere in the quiet corners of neuroscience labs, Henry's story still echoes. A man who lived in the present forever. And maybe, just maybe, the next time you forget something small, a name, a moment, a detail, you'll wonder, what else is slipping away? And what part of you is still holding on? Because memory doesn't just record your life, it is your life. And Henry Molaison lost his.